I was about to just head back to my room when... Dave! How's your day going? Oh, alright, I guess. Why? Oh, I just passed Sal on the stairs. He told me to look after you for a bit. He what? Oh, I can give you some space if you want, but I was sort of looking to hanging out with someone. Do I want to know what happened between you two? I relayed what Sal and I had been up to and what happened right up to him leaving the dining room. Minus the axe and the creepy dreams he'd been having, at least. There was no need to alarm Orlando about something neither Sal nor I were completely certain about after all. Oh, brother. What? Did I do something wrong? Well, it's hard to say. Sal's hard to read for sure, but, I might go talk to him about it later. Reckon he'll let you know what's wrong? We're both covered in scales, so there's that fraternal angle I can work for sure. I wouldn't worry too much. He's always been like that, though. A good night's sleep and he'll be right as rain, I think. Shame about the part where he can't sleep. Oh, yeah. Speaking of, he said he was taking sleeping medication for that. Sleeping medication? That's the first I'm hearing about it. Hope he's not getting any creepy dreams or anything. I've heard stories about people taking sleeping medication or people having dreams here. Yeah, apparently he hasn't been sleeping all that well. He's pretty active, so maybe he's just working too hard. What? At what? One, I'm just trying to remember, does he have a job? Does he work as a wrestler? Does he work at the gym now? I forget if we confirmed him as being employed.
No, I don't think so. I'm not sure if we know anything about that.
He talks about like what he's going to do for a career, which I'm like, it's a little late, buddy. I mean, not too late to start a career, obviously, but I'm like, 25 is a little old to be like, what am I going to do when I grow up? But I don't know if he's that active outside of this place, but we've been here for a week and he just swims and naps and eats. So I feel like we're far enough into a vacation that he shouldn't be having sleep problems from being overworked right now. He definitely isn't like going at it on his BlackBerry and like getting work calls while he's here or anything.
Yeah. No one's been getting work calls while they're here, apparently.
Yeah. I think I've been noticing Tyson also staying up late, too. Given he's another active guy, maybe, that's where I'm making that assumption from. I mean, I think working out a bunch is supposed to help you sleep, in Tyson's case. Oh, I guess that makes sense. In that we have several data points pointing to it not making sense. Like how, even ignoring that part, Tyson's just a type of animal that is more likely to be active during the twilight hours. Because wolves are most active not during the day and not during the night, but during the morning and evening. I think that's all it is? Probably. Orlando and I talked about video games for a bit before continuing our conversation over the reheating of pizza. I'm telling you, that boss is tough. I haven't quite figured out how to beat it on my bow-only Valkyrie run, but if I could build the combo meter high enough, I could get out that special move? That's like it's really hard to comprehend what genre this even is. Have you tried using a potion?
This is not real advice.
No.
I don't think anyone who talks about game has ever said anything like this before.
This feels like an intentionally incomprehensible conversation. Like, holy shit, with potion, Valkyrie, bow only, combo meter, special move. I think the only game I've played that has a bow and a combo that are at the same time is like very niche, unlikable Dynasty Warriors characters. The fucking bow-only Dynasty Warriors characters. But they don't have bow-triggered combos, and you don't drink potions. And you wouldn't have a combo meter in, like, Diablo, or... Anyway, using a potion might work, but I'd have to rely on a passive skill to kick in so I don't die. This is... It's like Mad Libs.
Yeah.
While we were pondering over Orlando's latest conquest as far as gaming went, it's not a conquest. He can't beat the boss. It's the opposite of a conquest. It's a failure. We were joined by the others who seemingly wanted their pizza and bailed without sticking around. Seemingly in that they got their pizza and left. I don't know. I'll have to think of something. I've been stuck on it for a week now. Yeah, that's definitely not a conquest. That's just completely brick-walled in this game. I shrugged. It was a classic case of Orlando having played the same game for far too long and knew every intimate detail about it, which is why he can't beat the boss? Wait.
Not convincing.
I cannot stop and think about this conversation too much. I was more just a sounding board for ideas at this stage. I didn't even know what game he was talking about for half the time whenever this happened. But before he could go on another tangent, the door to the kitchen opened.
Hey.
Sleep well?
Couldn't get to sleep. Hopefully means I'll sleep well tonight. Just need to take the medication.
Sal wandered over to get some water while Orlando shot me a curious look before turning to Sal. What medication is it? Dave said you were on medication but didn't say what.
Bear tranquilizers.
I'm mixing them with vodka, said it would help. Excuse me, what?
What? Bear tranquilizers.
Without any delay, Sal rummaged in his pocket and threw something in his mouth, chasing it quickly with water before heading over to the fridge to look for food. But you're not a bear, though. That was my reaction, too. Was it? I don't think he said anything about it at the time. Or thought anything about it.
I'll be fine. It's just to take the edge off.
Well, if you say so. You probably know better than me about medication, that's for sure. Why? You sure that it's okay to be taking those?
It's not the first time. I'll be fine.
No kidneys. He punctuated his statement with a shrug and pulled out some of the leftover pizza, biting into it without bothering to heat it first.
I'm going to bed now that I've taken it, though. Good night. Okay.
Yeah, you... We rapidly...
I just, like, the way that they talked about it on that scene did not make it seem like he was coming to the kitchen to take them, and then he talked about it like he hasn't taken them yet, and then is like, anyway, I've taken them, so I'm going back upstairs.
Well, no, he said he popped them in.
When did he take them?
He popped them in his mouth.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that the context of the conversation did not make it seem like he was here to do this. So it just all of a sudden, it's like saying like, yeah, I have plans later to take my medication so that I can sleep, and then immediately taking the medication. It's like, that's not really plans. You literally just did it. It's kind of weird sort of passage of time.
Yeah, it's the rapid fire nature of the time passing where it's like, we just were hanging out with him, and then he left to go sleep, but then we talked to Orlando for a moment, and maybe like it could be that a bunch of time passed in the quote unquote like in the video game conversation, but it was so much time apparently, I guess, that Orlando said sleep well, like as he expected that he must have been asleep because it must have been hours or something. Yeah. I guess. But then he comes down just to take the medication in front of us and then go sleep. Which
yes.
Which I don't know. But yeah, he definitely did explicitly take it in the scene though. So I don't know when you asked. I don't know why you asked when he took it.
Well, I guess my point is more when I say that, like, it's not that I was confused when he took it in terms of chronologically speaking. I'm saying the way that he spoke about it brings to question what exactly the timeline is with regards to him taking it, because he's talking about it in a way that makes it seem like a far future event. Like normally, like if I'm when we're about to pause the recording or whatever in between episodes, I'm not like, all right, Keith, I have plans later today to go take a leak. Anyway, I'll be right back because I'm going to go take a leak. Like, that's just not, it's just kind of weird the way that you talk about it that.
Just literally every time I cut the episode, it's just, I have to pee, and then you run off.
So that's why I'm sitting here like, that was a weirdly paced thing. When did he take it? How did he take it? How much time has passed? Because it seemed like he was talking about later.
Yeah, I'm kind of going with the flow at this point because I kind of usually can't tell when it is until it explicitly just says, it's dinner time. Yes. I almost wonder if there should be a clock just hanging out by the day counter. Just to tell us
that would actually make things easier.
What times we should think scenes are, or how much we should think transitions are like passing time. And
yep. Well, like right underneath where it says day 6, maybe it could say like 6 p.m., 9 p.m., like things like that. Yeah. I think Umineko does that.
Just because the last scene took place with Sal leaving, and we just started chatting with Orlando, and we walked in the kitchen chatting, and then Sal's back from his some amount of time where he's expected to have slept. Like it's from the player's perspective, it's been like 20 seconds. So
yes,
you're
exactly.
Like, oh, damn, how long was that conversation? Because the text does not imply how long it's been going necessarily.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe furries just experience time differently.
Time dilation.
Kind of like how every time you're reading someone's slash fiction, they're always like, and then they just went for hours, and I'm like, did they? Why? Who? How? Like the flagrancy with which those stories are happy to just claim that somebody just is pistoning for literal hours straight. I'm like, you get chafe at some point and bruise. Do I get bored eventually from doing one thing, one action for literally hours? Like, maybe so. It's always maybe all time is metaphorical, and all furries experience time like Dr. Manhattan, and we're just now cluing into this thing that everyone else understood.
Clearly,
he was out the door before he could kick up a fuss either way. He was in a hurry. Bear tranquilizers, though. Why does that just sound wrong? Probably because of the word bear.
Probably because they're hard drugs.
That is strong.
He's taking like Quaaludes to go to sleep at night.
We're seemingly setting up a substance abuse problem for this character. That seems to be where we're going with it. We pondered the thought for a while longer before going back to our video game talk. There wasn't anything that we could do about it, especially after he'd already taken the medication. When the sound of thunder echoed off in the distance, we called it a night. Orlando seemingly worried about something, but went to bed with a smile all the same. With the thunder rolling in overhead, I figured it was best to settle in for the night. As I lay on my bed, listening to the thunder, my thoughts wandered. Bear tranquilizers. I shook my head. Was Sal that desperate for a good night's sleep that he'd take any medication that might work? But then I heard it. The sound of a thud somewhere outside my door. I poked my head out and... Oh. Sal. Still can't sleep? That's definitely him sleepwalking, right? Yep. Hello?
Yeah. He's got those black, eyes. I think normally... Yeah. Are his eyes normally that, shade? I guess maybe. I'm used to the character's eyes, sometimes being colored and sometimes not.
I don't remember exactly what his eyes look like normally, but I know that sometimes they get drawn as, hollow orange as a shocked expression, and that distinctly is different than normal. But it's definitely just... I just instantly read that this is a blank expression with a slack jaw. This is not... and I'm primed to think it's going to be this anyway. There was something unsettling with that unfocused stare he was giving me. Was he standing out here for a reason? Sal, shouldn't you be in bed? Again, no response. What are you doing out here anyway?
Water. Need water.
Sugar and water. Without waiting for a reply, Sal turned and started wandering towards the stairs, his movements sluggish. I watched as he started to head downstairs before heading back to bed myself. You're just gonna go back to bed? You're not.
I guess so.
You're not curious about this at all, Dave. When you, I mean, we literally did establish that he's oblivious in that previous scene when it comes to everyone else's feelings for him. So I guess him cluing together, he never canonically clued together that Sal is sleepwalking probably, and maybe brandishing axes over people, but because he doesn't know he's in a story, he's not genre savvy, and he never specifically thought that. But we immediately thought that, so we're just like, you okay? You're just gonna see sleep problem Sal wandering around in zombie mode and not even check out what's happening? It was odd, but who was I to question needing water in the middle of the night? Don't you guys have bathrooms? Like, they have sinks in their rooms because he has his own shower, right? I think he has his own shower.
Yeah, I guess he does.
So he shouldn't need to go down.
I didn't even think about that.
He shouldn't need to walk through the house for water. I hadn't really processed what I'd just seen until I'd gotten comfortable in bed again. It'd just have to be something I'd ask Sal about in the morning, if I remembered. Day 7. No one has thought about the scavenger hunt for like 3 or 4 days now. It was reinforced and reintroduced and foreshadowed again and again and hinted at every day for like the first 3 or 4 days, and then no one has thought about it for literally days since. Not even one question, no side person just being like, yeah, I wonder where the next one might be. We were kind of thinking we'd check out let's check the shed behind the greenhouse and see if there's any trap doors. Or everyone's just stopped thinking about it. They seemed so invested for a bit. Despite running into Sal the night before, I fell asleep quickly and awoke the next morning feeling oddly refreshed. I rubbed my eyes and looked at the time. It was early enough that I could probably join Sal for his morning routine, or Haas for morning exercise. I sent Sal a text message to see if he wanted company before getting ready. When I was dressed and had brushed my teeth, I checked my phone to see no response so far. Huh. Maybe he's still asleep. Oh well. No sooner than I stepped out of my room, I almost ran right into Orlando mid-yawn. Oh, Orlando, you're up early. You too, huh? Rough night? I thought back, frowning. No, I don't think so, at least. Did you have a tough time sleeping or something? It almost feels like a weird question at this point, given that it's like seemingly a universal experience that we ourselves have been having every night. But I guess maybe we finally slept well once?
Yeah.
No, not that. Maybe it was just my imagination, but I struggled to get comfortable. Even got up to get a glass of milk from the kitchen to see if that would help things along.
So Orlando knows what milk is. That's good.
Yeah, we can build out our web of knowledge. I'm guessing it didn't. I wish. I've been awake for hours. I'd offer coffee, but, yeah, it's okay. But I am sort of hungry. You heading down for breakfast already, or? I was gonna head over to the pool to see if Sal was already doing laps or something, but, I guess I could get coffee first? I could miss out on some hot dragon bod just for a bit. Well, alright. Let's head on down. Beats wandering around by myself for sure, at least for a little while. That's odd. We just stepped in the kitchen, with me leading the way, before Orlando spoke again, his gaze affixed to something on the ground from where he was looking. What's odd? He gestured to me to come closer, pointing at the oddity on the ground. In front of the freezer door was a knife, stabbed into the ground before the door of the freezer. There wasn't a likelihood that someone had just dropped it there, and I watched as Orlando pulled it from where it was wedging the door shut, with little issue. Whew.
Yeah.
that whole page could do with a revision. That's a wild sentence we can't quite. It's like holding on to one of those those bucking bronco machines that are just going all over the place. You're like, oh man, which way is this going next? That's a lot of individual, no punctuation, several like different phrases all strung together, trying to accomplish different goals, kind of fighting for space in one sentence, and it's just, while also kind of looping unto itself. It's like it's like in front of the freezer door, in front of the door of the freezer. Yeah, there's a lot. That one was a lot. Where do you reckon it came from? Who knows? I think someone dropped it? While Orlando was looking the knife over, I noticed something on the wall. A panel that I hadn't realized was there before. Was this panel always here, Orlando? Huh? Oh yeah! That's the controller for the freezer. For the temperature and stuff, you know? Normally it's got a covering over. I looked to Orlando as he put his hand on the door of the freezer and recoiled immediately. Whoa! That's really cold. From the outside? Well, yeah, it's the freezer, isn't it? Shouldn't be that cold. What's the panel say? Let's see, it says -5 degrees Fahrenheit, -21 degrees Celsius. Is that right? Orlando shook his head quickly, putting the knife on the counter before coming over to check for himself. Should be a little warmer than that, but maybe only a couple degrees at most. Wonder if it's malfunctioning. You think everything still inside is still okay? Doesn't hurt to check. Worst, there might just be a bunch of frost, so the sooner we know the better. I watched as Orlando readied himself, knowing how cold the door was as he gripped it tight and pulled it open, gasping as he did so and running inside. Oh, it's a walk-in freezer.
Yeah.
Sal?
Very The Shining.
Sal? What? Hey, Sal! Come on, buddy. What are you doing sleeping in here? Oh, that's bad. That's very bad.
Did he get what the quarried? Oh no.
He got the quarried. He got the quarried. That was one of talking about scenes that were very hard to read, what you were supposed to think in the moment, and then getting blindsided by consequences and so on.
Yeah.
The fucking freezer ending that you can get in the quarry is so badly directed that you just get blindsided by the game over screen without it selling you on the idea that anyone even died beforehand. But then I got an additional glitch where the door just disappeared anyway, so there wasn't a door despite that being the point, the object of the conflict. What a wild. That's a highlight if you want to look it up on my channel. Just the quarry highlight. What the fuck? Okay. I found myself heading inside to see what Orlando was on about, but I didn't quite expect what I saw next. Oh, he's also naked. And he's blue. Okay. Is Sal dead? I think Sal's dead. I think this is Sal's dead ending. I think we got this bad choices.
You made him reject you, and he felt so bad about it. He slept in the freezer.
We did not correctly interrogate his drug problem, and now he's dead in the freezer. Normal cause and effect.
I can't believe you killed Sal, Keith.
I killed Sal.
You murdered Sal.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I'm going to salvage this playthrough at this point. This is such... This is such an escalation of stakes.
Well, yeah.
We've been anticipating something happening, obviously, but nothing has happened yet. The most that happened is that Roswell wandered off into the woods and got a cold. So, like, oh god. Well, here's some trauma, everybody. Jesus Christ. It's just a bad time. Sure enough, there he was, in the far corner of the freezer, sitting on the floor. He looked as though he were asleep, although Orlando was keeping his distance. Yeah, guys, he wasn't sleeping in the freezer. Somebody trapped him in the freezer because they stabbed the knife into the floor to lock the freezer closed. He was murdered. This was a murder, guys.
Yep.
Wow, it is cold in here, huh?
Dave, that's your response.
Dave. Did you kill Sal?
Oh my god.
Did you kill Sal, Dave? I was going to assume Roswell because that's just our default assumption so far, and it will be until proven otherwise, but Dave, how... You freaked out that much about Roswell coming home too late from the woods, but finding that a knife was pinning the freezer door closed, it's set to super cold mode, and the guy that you were hoping was crushing on you is sitting here naked on the floor and blue and unconscious in the freezer. What does a kill on people? And you're like, wow, sure is nippy in here. Then I caught the sound of a whisper, or a choking sob from Orlando, while I was still processing what was before me. Orlando stepped forward and placed a hand on Sal's bare chest, recoiling like he'd done for the door. Hey, Sal, you should really be wearing a shirt, huh? I looked to the ground, and there it was, discarded in the middle of the room, where parts of frost had been torn from the door. I edged closer to Sal, realization hitting me harder the closer I got, the frost starting to accumulate on his chest, around his nose. Hey, Dave, tell him. What? He should wake up, right? Orlando was audibly sobbing between breaths, his voice cracking. Was Sal just sleeping? He sure looked like it, but everything pointed to something else. Something that I whispered to Orlando. Is he dead? No! I flinched as Orlando cried out, sputtering into a coughing fit with embers flicking from the corners of his mouth. He lasted only a few coughs in before the floodgate opened and he started bawling. He can't be! For starters, I needed to get Orlando out before the tears froze to his face.
That would be cold. It would need to be extremely cold.
It would need to be very cold. And I am wondering I'm wondering if this is a door that closes on its own, because I'm just like worried if they're dumb enough to get themselves trapped in here. But like, I don't think Orlando's in danger right now. I think
no.
There are other reasons to get him away, like the trauma of the scene he's currently in and his reaction to it. But his whether or not his tears freeze is not really the first priority. There's a real split here where I'm just like Orlando's comments are oblivious in a similar way, but in a way that I don't take any issue with, because he's clearly like, his comments do read correctly as being like his mind rejecting something in disbelief and shock because of how fucked up this image is, whereas like Dave's comments were like so strangely oblivious and not in a denial kind of way that I'm just like, what do you mean it's cold in here, Dave? Dave, how are you not losing your shit at this visual? This is
yeah,
because it's like the equivalent of like walking to one of the bad ends in 999 and Junpei's just like, huh, well that's gonna stain.
Yeah, like, exactly.
Junpei,
that's not the right response.
Like Junpei, the dramatic music's playing because this is a bad end, and I need another set of hands to get Sal out of here, assuming the worst. This is mercenary. That's... I wouldn't be thinking this quickly about the logistics of moving the body. Dave, what's up, Dave? Are you okay? Once we were out, Orlando collapsed on the ground in a heap on his knees, not bothering to wipe the tears that fell from his face. Wait here. I braved the cold with a deep breath to see what I could make out from Sal's condition. Mom had showed me once how to check someone's pulse, so I started there, but... Come on. Please be there. Seconds rolled by as I tried his neck, then his arm, then his neck again, hoping to feel something, but... No, Sal, wait. It was faint, but it was there. Sal was... alive. Sal,
How?
hang in there, buddy. Let's get you somewhere warm. I mean, maybe a reptile thing? Can reptile... How much can reptiles...
They're cold-blooded.
Yeah, but like there's some... I don't know about crocodiles, but there's some... like I think there's some reptiles or amphibians or whatever that can like freeze basically and then come back.
I guess that's fair, yeah.
I ran out of the freezer and went straight to the panel, wondering if there was a way to make it warmer in the interim while I mustered some help. Sal was a big guy, and even Orlando and I didn't think we'd be able to easily move him. Just grab legs and pull. There's two of you. How big? He's not... I've seen him. He can't be that big. It was pointless, though. For whatever reason, the controls seemed non-responsive or just didn't want to work right now. Well, I mean, just leave the door open, and that does a lot of the work. Like, just do not close the door again.
Yeah.
Hit it open, and the freezer don't work right, and you're significantly better off. With a growl, I gave up and turned to Orlando on the floor, who had composed himself enough with the confusion of my sudden reappearance. Okay. I have to go get help. Orlando, we need to warm Sal back up before he dies. Quick, turn on all the ovens. Right, on it. I don't think I've seen him move so fast, heading back into the freezer while I ran towards the bedrooms to grab Dean, Tyson, or both for help. I almost charged down Tyson's door, and in his waking stupor, he followed me without complaint. Dean was much the same. The four of us were able to drag Saul out of the freezer, where Orlando basically acted as a living heater by sitting against his side, hands on Sal's chest, to try and warm him back up, Obu. What happened, anyway? Good thing you got us. We're just all gonna have to warm them all at once with our hot bods. Just form a circle. Good luck getting the porker or a haircut to move that much, weight. I was out of breath. The worst of it was over, right? We better call an ambulance, though. Oh, here's gonna be a moment where we're gonna find out why he can't do that or something, right? He took his shirt off. Hypothermia, right? Right. How bad is it? Bad, pup. You saved me from it during the winter once. Otherwise would have ended in hospital. I fumbled in my pocket for my phone to call for an ambulance before realizing the most important thing. What's the address? With a sigh, Ty grabbed the phone from me and then bolted out the room, Dean's hand on my shoulder, stopping me from following. Let him run and get Roswell to give him the address. He'll be faster given you look ready to drop. You could also check your GPS and it would just probably, unless this place is like a black site.
Yeah.
No sooner than he'd said that, I fell into Dean, sighing out. It was one way to start the day, but I'd already felt ready for bed again. Sometime later, Ty came back to tell us that an ambulance was on the way. Roswell and Haas appeared around the time that the paramedics came and took Sal. There wasn't really much we could do from then on, so the rest of the day we milled about, wondering if he was going to be all right. I didn't expect the paramedics to arrive. That's not...
Yeah.
I'm so
kind of cuts through the tension a little bit.
I'm just bracing constantly for some reason that they're all going to be cut off from society in some way. And And yeah, like I thought that was going to be the escalation. Like, oh shit, Sal's dying, and we can't get the paramedics, and like someone to go try to get help on foot, and then you find out like why you can't get help on foot, like because chupacabra or evil fog, or you just loop back, or there's a pit now.
Cell reception mysteriously doesn't work anymore.
The gates are locked. Like I'm just waiting. I'm bracing for something. Because I don't fully grasp the genre, but we've been primed for like vaguely that something's going to happen. So the paramedics arriving is a shock. If they just take Sal and then we never see Sal again, that would also be a shock. Because it's like, yeah, it's like less people are dying and more someone is removed from survivor in an emergency situation. Like, oh, he didn't get voted off. He got to get dragged off because he fell into the fire like that one guy did. Huh. There wasn't really much we could do from then on. So the rest of the day we milled about, wondering if he was going to be all right. Dean did his best to keep everyone's morale up, but by dinner, it was unanimous that we wanted to go back for one reason or another. Mostly just so we could go see how Sal was holding up. Did this just end the trip?
I guess so. This is the good ending.
Yeah,
no one died.
I was gonna say, depending on how bad the other routes might be, this could be the good ending because we just leave. I'm so on one hand, I was like, instinctively, I want to power through, so I don't want to. Even if you want to romance Sal or whatever, I inherently don't want to go back until I get forced to, even if Sal's out of the story in the Sal route or whatever.
Yep.
So I was like bracing for like, oh no, I'm gonna have to tell Toaster we're gonna keep going, even though he probably wants to like undo Sal being out of the story. But at the same time, and also like I'm like, oh, here's the raising of stakes moment of the story where something big and bad happens, and now we have to deal with that. So if the story just ends right here and we have to loop back to undo the accident, like I'm so caught off guard by that.
It is funny how abruptly this has happened.
Yeah, it does prime us for like, okay, this is a multiple routes type story, so now we need to find. It's like this gives us data. It's the equivalent of a bad ending in one of those in like 999 or something, where it's like, okay, who did that? Why did it happen? We know that someone tried to kill Sal because the knife was outside the door, pinning it closed, which is an impossible thing for him to actually do himself. But we also have the data that he's sleepwalking, so we can incorporate his axe sleepwalking into potential other stuff on the other routes or whatever. There might even be an axe ending. Where would that be familiar? But yeah, we got the knife ending, I guess, or the freezer ending. If I make the leap of thinking this might have like Zero Escape style endings in it, but the idea that the ending is we all just go home and no one dies, I'm like, yeah, I definitely like inherently think on some level this is the good ending because I expect very bad stuff to happen in the other ones. So if Sal pulls through and everyone goes home, then well. Not bad, all things considered. Like one of the more positive possible outcomes besides whatever true ending there might be, or who knows what the stakes are on average.
I mean, it becomes a question, especially in the future.
It turns out he turned out to be our salvation.
I mean, it becomes a question of like, this might not be the most satisfying ending, but it might be like just objectively the best one for everyone.
As far as all the people involved are, yeah. This is I'm very amused.
Yeah.
We went to visit Sal the next day, staggering our arrival so as not to annoy anyone with all 6 of us arriving at once. Tyson and Dean arrived first, but didn't have much to say, with the 2 of them lingering until Roswell and Orlando arrived. Roswell left when Haas showed up, and then left after an hour. You left Haas alone with him last. If Sal turns out dead, I'm assuming that Haas did it, and he's the knife person. He's the knife sleepwalker. Every now and again, a doctor would come in, check on Sal, the machines, and then leave after checking if we need anything. The last time he came in, he handed something to Orlando before saying to both of us that things weren't looking good for him and that it might be worth contacting his family. I think he should generally contact his family regardless in this state if he's in the hospital. I don't think you need to wait till he's dying. You should tell people, you should tell his family that he's in the hospital immediately. It was hard to hear, but what was there to say? Dave? Yeah? What should we do? There wasn't really anything we could do. Sal was in a coma as far as what I picked up from the nurses and doctors. The temperature drop was a little too severe and he was exposed for too long. Mama told me once about a patient she had that had lost their brain function and was kept alive by machines. It matched up with what Sal looked like, based on my no medical experience, and that there are machines and he's not awake right now, I guess. Also known as me napping, or like, also known as anybody who has a CPAP machine.
Yes.
Like, oh, this matches up with what I understand what coma looks like. Sal looked, but Mom's workplace was another one of those places I wasn't allowed to visit. So you've never seen it. Okay, yeah, fucking Dave would diagnose somebody with a CPAP as being in a coma. I don't know, Orlando. I feel horrible. Can we go somewhere else? Anywhere, just I don't want to be here anymore. Back to mine? I trailed off. There wasn't really anything I could think of that would help, aside from fulfilling his wish to leave. With slumped shoulders, he started walking to the car with me, falling behind. A week later, Sal passed away. Nope, not the good ending. Sorry. Alright, sorry everybody.
Well, I mean, it might be the good ending for everyone else.
Comparatively.
It was due to his sacrifice that we all lived. Thanks, Sal. This is what I mean. He's the hero of the story.
Apparently it was peaceful, and he wasn't in pain. But it destroyed Orlando. His boisterous self was gone, replaced by a hollow shell that sat in silence whenever he was in the room. Come the funeral, it looked as though he hadn't slept. He spoke to no one, and was the last to leave, wanting to remain behind even after I urged him to come home with me. A letter had found its way into my mailbox a couple days afterwards, neatly folded and sealed with wax. I turned it over in my hand as I saw Tyson walking down the street from his house. Hey. Hey. I waved the letter at him, forcing a smile, if only a weak one. Letter. I see that. What does it say? I opened it in front of him and read it out loud. Dave, I write to apologize my shortcomings and the part I played in the loss of your friend. Let's see. Despite my best efforts, he was too far gone for me to do much of anything. For what it's worth, he was a fighter until the end. No amount of money. I thought it was the murderer. I thought it was the murderer and not the doctor.
I was going to say, I thought it was Benson, and I was like, wait, where was Benson in all of this?
Yeah,
Isn't it his job to tell people to go to bed?
Benson just vanished for the last 5 days. He only was in day 2, then disappeared immediately. It's so strange. No amount of money or apology can bring him back, but know that he's at least at rest. That's a weird thing to say. I tilted my head, glancing up at Ty, who was leaning on the fence. There's something on the back, Pup. After Ty pointed at the letter, I flipped it over, seeing the message continue on. Oh, may he forever be a dreamer alongside the god of sleep.
Try that as the password.
Yep, I think that's more... It being in caps means more of a password than the other thing it seems. Signed, O.H.
Something Hammond.
Great. Religious trash. Yeah, O.H. It's probably Hammond because of the thing.
That name of the estate, yeah.
Yeah. So it probably was the murderer. The way when it went on, it sounded like it was from the doctor eventually.
Yeah.
But then the weird line about money and stuff, I'm like, that's a weird thing to say. in any context?
Yeah.
Right, religious trash. Ty made a grab for the letter, but I held it away, mulling over what the last bit had said. Sal had been plagued by that name, and now, for whatever reason, it is coming up again. Well, he didn't say Somnus. What? Who was OH?
No, he didn't. Or Hypnos.
Yeah, Hypnos. Who was OH? Do they know something more about this? Was my head just messing with me? With something that could have been just a coincidence? What would have been the sleeping part. I'm like, OH is not Dave, you're overthinking something again. I flinched at Tyson's assessment and shuffled closer so he could place a hand on my shoulder. Come on, let's go for lunch. Dean's waiting for us. I'll let him know we're running late. Huh? Yeah, I'll fill you in on the way. Just try and relax, all right? You could use the cheering up. Oh, okay. I didn't hear much from the others after that. Apparently Orlando had to move away to deal with the loss of Sal, and Haas moved away with him to keep him company. What? Are they involved in any way? Like familially or anything? That's a huge life choice to make. Like to move with a friend to some distant location just to keep them company because they're going through something. Is like that's beyond what you usually can expect from someone.
Yeah.
I told Roswell about the letter and he promised he'd look into it for me, but I never heard from him again. As if he'd vanished off the face of the planet. Okay, yeah, fuck Roswell. Roswell's the villain in some way. He's up to some shit. Wasn't he like our oldest friend or some shit? And he's the one that organized this whole thing, and we just never heard from him again.
Yeah.
Either he died mysteriously immediately afterwards, or he's up to something.
He probably just joined the cult.
Yeah, he's the knife guy. Ty and Dean, though, stuck around. Ended up moving in together, which was strange at first, but it was nice having them around. Even when they were at each other's throats. I was literally I jokingly was like, don't say it, this is a sad scene. Don't joke about how like we're gonna cheer you up with a threesome, but they literally all moved in together into like a polyamorous relationship seemingly. It wasn't the same though. I felt powerless, saddened that I couldn't save Sal by myself. That somehow he ended up in that freezer and basically died there, alone. Them all seemingly polyamorously all moving in together is weird just because we didn't develop our relationship with either of them, really. We did not
Tyson
romantically develop them in the narrative. We got some scenes with Tyson, but we just talked about how oblivious we are about them, and we actively ignored Dean the entire time.
Yeah. And they didn't seem to like each other at all. Like they actively seemed to not be okay with each other. So it's a little strange that they were like, okay, now we love each other because someone we hardly know died.
Yeah, it seemed like a non sequitur, but maybe the hate sex is just that good.
Yeah.
It wasn't the same though. I felt powerless, saddened that I couldn't save Sal by myself. That somehow we'd ended up in that freezer and basically died there alone. Taking it one day at a time helped, but I would always wonder how it all happened and what went wrong. Bad end, Sal. Resonate?
What does that even mean?
I don't know. I'm excited now, though, Toaster. Things are happening. Like this is we've clearly hit like the core like thing of this game. It's starting now, and I'm like, okay, I want to see what's happening because like I've been excited about this game ever since the coffee thing at the very, very beginning, where it fucks with you on a metatextual level, and I just want to see what it's gonna do. And now that we've hit an ending, now something's gonna start happening, and now I'm like, yes, here we go. All right, see you guys next time. Whatever the fuck resonate means. Enjoy that cliffhanger.